Cyrus the Great, also known as Cyrus II, was the founder of the Achaemenid Empire in the 6th century BCE. Renowned for his military genius and tolerant rule, he conquered Media, Lydia, and Babylon, creating the largest empire of his time. His famous cylinder, often called the First Human Rights Charter, promoted religious freedom and cultural respect for conquered peoples. Unlike other rulers, Cyrus allowed displaced communities, like the Jews, to return home, earning him praise in historical texts, including the Bible. His leadership combined strength with compassion, setting a model for future empires. Cyrus died in 530 BCE, leaving a lasting legacy. Julius Caesar, 100 to 44 BCE, was a Roman general, statesman, and dictator who played a pivotal role in the fall of the Roman Republic and the rise of the Roman Empire. A brilliant military strategist, he expanded Rome's territories through his conquest of Gaul, 58 to 50 BCE, and his invasions of Britain. His famous quote, Veni, Vidi, Vici, I came, I saw, I conquered, reflects his swift victories. Caesar's political rivalry with Pompey led to a civil war, ending in his victory and appointment as dictator for life in 44 BCE. He introduced key reforms, including the Julian calendar, but his growing power alarmed senators, leading to his assassination on the Ides of March, March 15th, 44 BCE, by Brutus and Cassius. His death sparked further civil wars, paving the way for Rome's transition from republic to empire under Augustus. Caesar remains one of history's most influential leaders. Alexander the Great, 356 to 323 BCE, was the legendary king of Macedon who created one of history's largest empires by the age of 30. A pupil of Aristotle, he inherited his father Philip II's powerful army and used brilliant military tactics to conquer the Persian Empire, Egypt, and lands stretching to India. Undefeated in battle, his victories at Gaugamela, Issus, and the Hydaspes showcased his genius for strategy and leadership. Alexander spread Greek culture across his empire, founding cities like Alexandria in Egypt, which became centers of learning. Though ambitious, his relentless campaigns exhausted his troops, forcing a turn back from India. He died mysteriously at 32, possibly from fever or poisoning, leaving no clear successor. His empire fragmented, but his legacy shaped the Hellenistic age, blending Greek and Eastern cultures. Alexander remains a symbol of unmatched ambition and conquest. Augustus Caesar, 63 BCE, 14 CE, born Gaius Octavius, was Rome's first emperor and founder of the Roman Empire. As the adopted heir of Julius Caesar, he avenged his death by defeating Mark Antony and Cleopatra at the Battle of Actium, 31 BCE, ending the Roman Republic. A master politician, Augustus restored stability through reforms, strengthening the military, expanding roads, and establishing the Pax Romana, a 200-year era of peace and prosperity. He rebuilt Rome with grand monuments, boasted, I found Rome a city of brick and left it a city of marble. Though he wielded absolute power, he cleverly masked it by preserving republican traditions, calling himself princeps, first citizen. Under his 40-year rule, Rome flourished in arts, architecture, and literature, the Augustan Age. He died in 14 CE, leaving a blueprint for imperial rule that shaped Western history. Khalid bin Walid, 592 to 642 CE, also known as the Sword of Allah, was one of the greatest military commanders in Islamic history. Initially a fierce opponent of Islam, he later converted and became a key leader in the early Muslim conquests under Prophet Muhammad and the Rashidun Caliphs. Renowned for his tactical brilliance, Khalid led decisive victories in battles such as Yarmouk against the Byzantines and Qadisiyah against the Persians, expanding the Islamic Empire rapidly. His strategies, including swift maneuvers and psychological warfare, made him nearly undefeated in battle. Despite his unmatched military success, Caliph Umar later relieved him of command to emphasize that victory comes from Allah, not individuals. Khalid accepted this with humility, showcasing his faith and discipline. He died in 642 CE, leaving behind a legendary legacy in Islamic military history. Richard the Lionheart, 1157 AD to 1199 AD. King of England, was a legendary warrior and central figure of the Third Crusade. Known for his bravery and military skill, he earned the nickname Lionheart, Coeur de Lion, for his fearless leadership. Though spending little time in England, he fought fiercely against Saladin to reclaim Jerusalem, securing key victories like the Battle of Arsuf, 1991. Captured and ransomed by enemies on his return, his reign was marked by constant warfare. He died from a crossbow wound in France, battling a rebellious vassal. Despite his short rule, Richard became a symbol of chivalry and medieval heroism, immortalized in legends like Robin Hood. Sun Tzu, 544 to 496 BCE, was an ancient Chinese military strategist and philosopher, best known as the author of The Art of War, a timeless treatise on warfare and strategy. Serving as a general for the Kingdom of Wu, his tactics emphasized deception, adaptability, and psychological advantage over brute force. His famous maxims, "Know yourself and your enemy, and you will never be defeated," and "The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting," highlight his belief in winning through intelligence and efficiency. The art of war influenced not only military leaders like Napoleon and Zhuge Liang, but also modern business, politics, and sports strategy. Though details of his life remain debated, Sun Tzu's teachings endure as a central wisdom on conflict, leadership, and strategic thinking, making him one of history's most revered military minds. Saladin, born Salah ad-Din Yusuf ibn Ayyub, was the legendary Muslim sultan who united the Islamic world and recaptured Jerusalem from the Crusaders in 1187. A Kurdish warrior of noble character, he rose to power under the Zengid dynasty before founding the Ayyubid Empire, ruling Egypt, Syria, and parts of North Africa. His greatest triumph was the Battle of Hattin, where he decisively defeated the Crusader armies, leading to Jerusalem's peaceful surrender, contrasting the brutal Crusader capture decades earlier. Despite his fierce reputation, Saladin was admired even by enemies like Richard the Lionheart for his chivalry, mercy, and diplomatic skill. A devout Sunni Muslim, he restored Islamic unity, promoted scholarship, and built fortifications like the Cairo Citadel. When he died of fever in 1193, he left almost no personal wealth, embodying humility. Saladin remains a symbol of justice, leadership, and resistance in both Islamic and Western history. Genghis Khan, 1162, was the fearsome Mongol warrior who founded the largest contiguous empire in history, stretching from China to Europe. He overcame a traumatic childhood to unite the warring Mongol tribes through sheer will and military genius. After proclaiming himself universal ruler, Genghis Khan, in 1206, he revolutionized warfare with lightning-fast cavalry tactics, psychological terror, and ruthless efficiency. His conquests annihilated empires like the Khwarezmian and Jin dynasties, while his Yasa legal code promoted meritocracy and religious tolerance. Though infamous for massacres, he also enabled trade, the Silk Road, and cultural exchange across Eurasia. His successors, like Kublai Khan, expanded his empire further. Genghis Khan died mysteriously in 1227, possibly from battle wounds. Napoleon Bonaparte, 1769 AD to 1821 AD, was a French military genius and emperor who dominated Europe through revolutionary tactics and ambition. Rising from Corsican nobility, he seized power in 1799, crowning himself Emperor of the French. In 1804, his Napoleonic Code modernized European law, while victories like Austerlitz, 1805, showcased his brilliance. However, 1812 invasion of Russia collapsed, and after exile and a brief return, 100 Days, Defeat at Waterloo, 1815. Ended his rule. Exiled to St. Helena, he died in 1821. A polarizing figure, Napoleon reshaped warfare, governance, and nationalism, leaving a legacy both celebrated and contested.